Hey, everybody.
Yay!
So excited for you to join us. I am here with Fallon Jordan, one of our super coaches, and we're going to kick off this Change Your Brain series by talking really what has one of the foundational conditions here at Amen Clinics, which is people who have ADD or ADHD. I'm a child psychiatrist, and half of my patients when we opened the clinic had ADD of one form or another. So any child who goes to see a child psychiatrist, about 50% will end up with the diagnosis of ADD. We're going to talk about Fallon's in a minute. And what's important is girls are often missed. And if you miss a girl, it can really negatively impact their lives. And they never sort of get to their potential and end up really frustrated. Some of the hallmark symptoms, short attention span, but it'll fool people because it's not for everything. It's for regular routine, everyday things, schoolwork, paperwork, chores, sort of the things that make life work, the things that are new, novel, highly interesting, stimulating, or frightening, they can do just fine because they have their own dopamine. Any of this make sense?
Yes.
The second one is distractibility. People with ADD just see too much. They hear too much. They start one thing and then they see, well, I haven't done that. And then, well, I haven't done that. And all of a sudden they've started 18 things and haven't finished any of them. Disorganization can be an issue, procrastination, and impulse control, where they might not think it all the way through before they say something or do something. And there's really, really mild ADD. People are incredibly functional, actually become CEOs of big organizations. And there's very severe ADD where people can't stay out of prison or off an addiction. And with an addiction, if you don't treat the ADD, they don't get better. And so, anyways, I'm talking a lot. I want Fallon to jump in. Fallon how long have you been with us?
Almost 8 years.
Wow. I mean, virtually ever since the Atlanta clinic opened in 2012. And she has just worked her way up the company. I mean, just consistently performs at a very high level and has talked to, goodness, I mean, probably 1,000 patients over the time, you know, little kids, old people, everybody in between. And I think of all the people who work with us, you just really understand what we do. And you understand it really from a personal level.
Right.
Talk about that.
Absolutely. So my first scan was just a few months after I started at the clinic, and I didn't immediately send it to you because I was like terrified that you're going to be like, your brain looks horrible, you're fired. And so I sent you my third scan, which was a year later, and you're like, yeah, we can do XYZ and treat it this way. But when I started doing the questionnaires and talking to some of our docs in Atlanta, and they looked at my scans, they're like, you're probably a ring of fire kid because you have almost all of the same scan findings as someone that has ring of fire, which really resonated with me. It was really validating for my parents. I mean, I was a star student with the over-focused, anxious, limbic. Like if I wasn't the perfect student and did a perfect job, I would get depressed, I would get anxious. And then that kind of started to fade after my first concussion in 8th grade. And then as the concussions continued, playing sports, just weird fainting events that led me down a road of being tested for epilepsy, which thankfully were negative. But there's just like, it just kept compounding to the point where I didn't really realize how much it was affecting me and how different my life had become. I mean, I was kind of like a goody little Miss Two Shoes. And then by age 14, 15, I'm sneaking out of my parents' house, like doing everything I could to be defiant with them. So I had that aspect of kind of like that over-focused ADD, the oppositional defiant, that obsessive compulsive. And by the time I got to college, I was just kind of like, I just want to relax and have fun. And I did that, but it showed up in my schooling and I didn't do very well. And I still am so grateful that I was able to get my bachelor's. But I mean, it took me 5 years and involved a lot of really bad decisions that are still affecting me today that I'm treating. And that was kind of why I wanted to talk with you about it and share it with people that really don't understand even just the mild ADD, and especially for girls, what that can turn into. I mean, just the impulsive decisions, the inability to stay focused unless it's interesting, which thank goodness, like I haven't had to deal with that in recent years because I love my job, I love my friends, like I made a lot of changes in those areas. But there's just still so much residual stuff that I needed to work on as far as the impulsivity and the distractibility. And I'm so grateful.
Should we share your scans? Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's do it. And it's so weird because you don't think about it when you don't really know what a normal, quote unquote, normal ADD scan is supposed to look like. But then you see mine next to a normal and it's just like so active. And it's not surprising, but that's also why when I tried Adderall briefly, it made me manic. I mean, I couldn't sleep for 2 days on 10 or 15 milligrams of Adderall, which at that point I was very small. It was like 130 pounds taking this dose and my body just could not handle it at all. So it was validating for me when I saw the scans and realized like there's a reason why I didn't need a stimulant. I need something to calm my crazy busy brain down.
Well, that's in fact the case. So let me pull up a healthy set of scans and just explain them to the audience.
That would be awesome.
So at Amen Clinics, we do a study called SPECT. And SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It looks at how the brain works. And it basically tells us three things: good activity, too little, or too much. And then our job is to balance your brain. And the four images on the left look at the outside surface, and all it should be is full, even, and symmetrical. The top left is looking underneath the brain. So the top is the front, bottom is the back, and it should just be nice and full. The bottom right image is looking down from the top. So we just want to see it full, even. The color doesn't matter in this one, it's the shape. And then the other two are looking at it from the left side and the right side. The image on the right, and this is where it's going to be really important for Fallon, shows us the most active areas of the brain. And blue is average activity, red and white are the most active parts. So red is the top 15% of brain activity, white is the top 8%. So white really is the super hot spots. And in a healthy scan, it's back here in the cerebellum. The cerebellum has got half the brain's neurons. It's just critically important. And so if we look at Fallon's scan, so this is your baseline scan. And here you have good cerebellar activity, but you've got all sorts of other things going on. And you talked about this pattern we call the ring of fire. It's like your brain is not low in activity, it's too high. And one of the first lessons I learned with ADD is it's not one thing. Give everybody a stimulant, you'll make some people better, and a whole bunch of other people worse. And, you know, I mean, that's with your experience when you went on a stimulant, it wasn't good for you. And here is the outside surface of your brain. And basically, the outside at rest looks really good, that you have a healthy brain. And then when you try to concentrate, your cerebellum drops, actually fairly dramatically. And what does that mean? It means the harder you try, the worse it gets. And so if we go back to, this is baseline, see all this white, especially here in the back. And then when you try to concentrate, it drops.
Are you showing my actual scans right now? Because I only still see the healthy.
Oh, sorry. Let me, yes.
Yeah, it's weird how my concentration and my resting scan, you need both to subtype ADD. They didn't look that much different, which, you know, was also validating. Like,
although to me, they look
busy.
really different.
Really? Okay, good.
When I look at them, I see this is the baseline scan, lots of good activity back here. So this is called your posterior cingulate, your cerebellum. It's pretty busy, but then your basal ganglia is active, your cingulate's active. It's a ring of fire scan. And then, so here's the outside surface, which actually looks pretty good. And then when you concentrate, there's a lot less going on in the active scan. Your cerebellum is not as busy. Everything's just sort of like you try to activate your brain and actually deactivates. So what does that mean? The harder you try, the worse it gets. And here, there's less activity in your frontal lobe, especially on the right side. And this just, it's such a great map on helping us know how to better help you. And when you got treated, what was different in your life?
I mean, everything. I mean, my relationships are different. My choices are different. I give myself more grace because I know that when I do mess up, I'm not messing up on big things like leaving water running in my parents' brand new house and causing them to have to spend $50,000 on new floors because I'm actually paying attention to most everyday things. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't been in a car accident in 6 years. That's pretty amazing. That was a pretty consistent thing for me, which is why I had like the temporal lobe problems from the whiplash. And I mean, a lot of it isn't just the scans. I mean, it's you, it's our doctors that have helped me. It's the other people that we're affiliated with that provided other services that I really needed, to really just look at everything at once instead of just focusing on one or two things. And seeing the scans was just what I really needed to kind of go down this road and really figure out how I can make myself the best version of myself.
So if people are watching, if you've tried, like you really tried to be better and it doesn't work or it's not working, your brain may be the reason, and understanding your brain can just help so much. I often say, how do you know unless you look? Why would you fly blind if you didn't have to fly blind, right? I mean, no pilot would ever want to fly blind. They want to see, they want radar, they want all the things, I mean, all the opportunities that they can have. And that's what SPEC does for us. Now, a long time ago, I realized not everybody can get a scan. We have 8 clinics, soon to be 9. We have a new clinic coming in Dallas in the fall. But we have clinics in Manhattan and Washington, D.C., and Atlanta and Chicago, Bellevue, Washington, San Francisco, LA, and Orange County. So, I mean, so we're in driving distance for most people. But if you can't come and get a scan, we actually have online a free ADD type test, and it'll help you know what type of ADD you might have. We've talked about 7 different types, but then there are combinations of those types. It can actually be 30 some different types, but basically classic hyperactive, restless, impulsive, can't concentrate. What most people think of as ADHD, inattentive ADD, more common in girls.
Right.
That's why they often don't get diagnosed, because they're not spinning or running around the classroom. They don't bring negative attention to themselves as much as the boys do, perhaps. But they're generally not hyperactive and often not terribly impulsive, but they don't concentrate very well. And they actually often have sleepy brains. There's a subtype called overfocused ADD, where the problem is not that they can't pay attention, it's they can't shift their attention. So they worry, they hold grudges, they get stuck. And if you're going to pay attention, you have to constantly shift your attention, because if you're still thinking about what Fallon said 5 minutes ago, well, then you haven't heard anything since then. There's also temporal lobe ADD, where one of your temporal lobes is not healthy, often from a car accident. Limbic ADD, which is sort of where depression and ADD cross each other. Ring of fire ADD, where there's just too much going on. And anxious ADD, where the ADD plus the anxiety really interrupt with your ability to do things. That's a type my wife has. And when I met her, I mean, I figured it out early just because it's what I do. And I scanned her early because I wanted to know if I really wanted to fall in love with her, right? You have to fall in love with someone's brain if you're me. And she's so smart, but she actually never met a cabinet door that she wanted to close.
Right.
Or a wrapper that she wanted to throw away. But she's so smart. She actually taught our white shepherd to close the cabinet doors. If they're open, he just goes and whacks them shut. Hysterical.
So funny.
So the ADD type test will help you know what your type might be. And then at Amen University, we have a great course called Healing ADD at Home in 30 days. And what it is, it's 35 to 10-minute videos on one aspect of ADD. Because when I wrote my best-selling book, it sold like 650,000 copies, Healing ADD. In the beginning of the book, I wrote, I know you're not going to read this book. Just read the first 5 pages. It'll tell you where to go to get the information you need. So we give you the information in snackable chunks to make it easy to get through. But we cover like, okay, what type of ADD do you have? And what's the right diet for the type? And what are parenting strategies or work or homework strategies? What supplements? We never say supplements will cure or treat ADD, but they certainly can support your mood, they can support your focus, and they can be helpful. What a lot of people don't know is omega-3 fatty acids, think of fish oil, that EPA, one of the components of fish oil, has been found to be really helpful to support the ADD brain. But DHA, not so much. And so you'll really learn about diet and supplements and exercises and some other innovative treatments for ADD. Fallon, what are some of the common questions people ask you about our work?
Everyday things that they can do to have a better brain. And so my go-tos are drink a lot of water, get off sugar, start every day with 3 things that you're grateful for. At night, say 3 things that went well that day, especially COVID. I know that's like your favorite thing. With families, now that you're able to have family breakfast and a family dinner, which I think is so awesome with everything that's, been going on. And I feel like that's even better way. It's almost like Thanksgiving dinner every day with your family, like being able to talk about some of the awesome things that happened. Definitely mindfulness and exercise are huge. Since I've been working remotely, I've been able to do exercise first thing in the morning, which never happened because I could never get my butt out of bed before being at the clinic at 8:30. And that's just completely changed so much about my day. It helps my focus. It helps my energy. My sleep is so much better. And it's just, and that's the thing too, when I am coaching patients or clients, this stuff we talk about all the time, your doctors talk about all the time, but you really need to do it. And if there's something holding you back biomedically that makes you not able to do these things, that's when you need to reach out to us. Like it could be a brain issue, it could be a hormone issue, it could be a vitamin mineral deficiency issue. And that's why we have these amazing tools like the courses, like the ADD type tests, so that you can try these things. The Neuralink supplement, I lived on that for 3 years, and thankfully my brain got a lot calmer, but more importantly, I felt better. And I've been taking it again just because I've been like really excitable and like anxious lately in a good way. Thanks to you. The last time I saw you, you said channel your anxiety into excitement. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And so I restarted the Neuralink and it's been really helpful. Like I definitely notice a big difference.
Yeah. And I think for your brain, that would be useful to support. And how I actually created Neuralink is, it's actually one of the foundational reasons why we created BrainMD. Is I come from a huge family. I'm one of 7. My mother has 52 grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And one of my nieces, when she was 7, she was a hellion. And my sister was just calling me 2 or 3 times a week that she just couldn't handle her and she was going to kill her. And it was pretty intense. And she had a ring of fire brain. And this was really before I was a supplement expert. I'd try this medicine, didn't work. I'd try that medicine, didn't work. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something natural. Because in medical school, they taught us first do no harm. Use the least toxic, most effective treatment. And I put her on GABA, calms down the brain. 5-HTP helps the brain shift. Taurine helps calm. And L-tyrosine, which helps to balance it. And so it was really the precursor to Neuralink. Those are the ingredients in Neuralink. And I realized 4 months later, I hadn't heard from my sister, who I'd heard from 2 or 3 times a week, being unhappy with her daughter and me because I was not fixing things. And then, so I haven't heard from my sister. So I called her up and I'm like, don't you love me anymore? And she goes, don't be stupid. Of course I love you. You cannot believe this child. We don't fight anymore. She's getting straight A's in school. The teacher wants to know what we're doing. And it was miraculous. And we've had so many great stories of using natural ways to heal the brain. Another big intervention is putting people on an elimination diet. And one of the great things people get when they sign up for Healing ADD at Home in 30 days is the Healing ADD Through Food cookbook that my wife Tana created. Most of the recipes have 5 ingredients or less because we realize they're ADD families making these. It's like, can't be complicated, needs to be simple, and they're delicious. And children love it. And adult children love it as well. She says I'm her biggest kid because she tries all of her recipes out on me. Also, people get a journal and I mean, it's just the tools you need to really make ADD your friend rather than something that has been tormenting you.
Right. And that's why I'm able to talk about it now without getting upset and stuff, because I just didn't see it being an excuse, but I also for so long didn't really know how to fix it. And now that I've been able to get this information and implement it, I mean, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I wouldn't be your super coach. I wouldn't be doing all these things to help other people heal, because I would still just be wrapped up on my own crap. So I'm just so grateful for everything that you've done for me, and that I can channel this into a good way. Like you said earlier, a lot of people don't know, like, you can be a CEO, you can be extremely successful and have ADD. It's not about taking away your gifts. It's about when you get home and your wife asks you the 14th time, like, did you remember to pick up almond milk on your way home? And you have to say no, and you know you're going to get yelled at. That's the kind of stuff that you can actually help heal. And then you can still have your creative intelligence side. And I think that's one of the coolest things about what we do, is that we're just trying to make you the best version of yourself. We're not trying to change you to a person that you aren't. We're trying to make you the person that you were born to be. And I feel like I'm becoming that person. And I didn't think I would be able to do that, at least at 34, maybe 50, 60, I would have got my second wind. But because I had my first scan, 27, 28, and had all this information, it's really just revitalized everything about my life and my relationships with people.
I'm so happy for you. Initially, when women get diagnosed with ADD, sometimes they'll get depressed. And the reason they get depressed is they start to mourn the loss of what could have been. And so I'll frame it for them. It's like, yes, I understand. And that's hard. But at the same time, we got to get excited about what can be in the future. Right. And we're famous for changing brains, right? You're not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. And that's what we live for at Amen Clinics. We live to make good brains great. And that's what you've done by taking care of your brain. Now, being a super coach, what you also do is you help our brain health coaches. We have a brain health coaching certification course where we have trained literally thousands of medical and mental health professionals. And people who take that course at Amen University can earn up to 50 continuing medical education credits. But we'll change how you practice. I mean, we'll teach you how our method basically at Amen Clinics, and literally change the way you evaluate and treat your patients and increase your effectiveness. We have a brand new course that we're really excited about called our Brain Health Licensed Trainer course, where we teach people how to teach brain health to other people, whether it's in businesses or churches or schools or organizations. We're very excited about that course. And so if you go to Amen University, you can learn about the other courses, one on autism, one on overcoming insomnia, a new one on concussions, and one on memory rescue. So there's all sorts of resources for you at Amen Clinics. We really, our mission is ending mental illness by creating a revolution in brain health. And so ultimately we provide, that's our why, we provide the products and services to optimize your brain. And then to do what we did with Fallon is turn you into a brain warrior, someone who's armed, prepared, and aware to help them and the people they love win the fight of their lives for a better brain and a better life.
You're amazing. And I really appreciate you saying the thing about when you do first get diagnosed, how you can have depression. I didn't realize how much that was still triggering me until 30 minutes before we started, and I was getting ready and I was getting excited. And ironically, I was doing my makeup and I was like, I'm on the verge of tears right now because I was just like flooded with all these memories that I just kind of repressed of just all the horrible decisions that I've made and like people that I've hurt and just all the forgiveness work that I still need to do. So that was really cool that you said that. And it just made me so much more excited to talk to you and so much more excited to share this. I mean, I know a lot of people say it, but it's true. Like if I can do it, you can do it.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that. You know, and the reason it gets, and there's so much controversy about ADD. It's like, oh, I'd never medicate my children. And, you know, at Amen Clinics, medicine is not the first thing we think about. But if supplements don't work, we're totally going to medicate you, because if you're not diagnosed by the age of 9, almost all people with ADD have self-esteem issues. And it's because they try. You know, I think actually most people are like me. You know, every day I get up and I want to do the best job I can.
Right.
And if you try and it doesn't work, and you try and it doesn't work, and you try and it doesn't work, after a while you say to heck with it and you stop trying. And then you just feel like you're somehow defective, when having ADD is very much like people who need glasses. You know, people who need glasses aren't dumb, crazy, or stupid. Their eyeballs are shaped funny, and wearing glasses just helps you focus. And people with ADD, clearly true in Fallon's case, not dumb, not crazy, not stupid. We just needed to balance your brain. And with a better brain, write this down, always comes a better life. All right, everyone. We're grateful that you tuned in to our first Change Your Brain series live. We will be back.
So excited.
With more information to help you through your life.
Thank you so much. You're the best.